All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. It's been 10 years since the Temple Owls left the Atlantic 10 Conference in favor of the American Athletic Conference, and the results have not been there. Definitely on the hardwood. Of course, Temple's football team didn't compete in the A10, but it's one of those when you think about all the football moves, and all of these are football moves, rather. Temple going to the American, and just look at them over the last 3 years. They've only managed to win a combined 7 games on the football field over the last 3 years. And their football program as a whole has not been the same since Matt Rule left in 2016. But when you think about Temple Athletics, and this is no disrespect to their football program, you're going to think about their basketball program before you think about their football program. And when you think about the basketball program, the glory days under the late John Chaney definitely come to mind. And you think about John Chaney's tenure at Temple as he got the Owls to the Elite Eight of the NCAA tournament 4 times. And just like Temple's football program, their basketball program has gotten lost in the shuffle in the American Athletic Conference, as they've only made 2 NCAA appearances since joining the AAC. While in those appearances, they failed to win a game. Now, most recently for Temple, after 4 years there as their head basketball coach, Temple alum Aaron McKee is stepping down as he was unable to restore the winning ways at Temple from when he played under John Chaney. But for me, the biggest thing for Temple is that simply they are a fish out of water in the American Athletic Conference. Now, under Chaney, Temple was the staple atop the Atlantic 10. As you know what, they relied on their strengths. Chaney was a Philadelphia guy. He focused on getting the Philadelphia kids. And you think about Philly. Philadelphia is a hard-nosed sports town, and the folks there are gritty. They don't take anything from anybody. And Temple's basketball team under John Chaney was a reflection of that. They were the stepping stone. Well, let me rephrase that. Not the stepping stone. They were the gold standard of the Atlantic 10 Conference basketball wise for a long time because all the other programs were trying to catch them in Cheney's heyday. And you think about it now in the American Athletic Conference, Temple is just a fish out of water. They're in a conference with the likes of Memphis, SMU, and East Carolina. And you think about it, Cincinnati and Houston are, of course, they're getting ready to leave for the Big 12. And the American, like a lot of other football conferences, due to football realignment, they have teams all over the place. And you think about the American, you've got East Carolina, you got a Tulane, you got a Temple, you have Tulsa, you have South Florida. And then you're bringing in some more Conference USA holdovers, and you're trying to lump all of that together. And this conference is spread out, and obviously, the dynamics of sports conferences at the collegiate level have changed due to realignment because once upon a time, of course, it was about a regional thing. And for the Atlantic 10, just like it was in the original Big East, it was a Northeast thing. And, obviously, due to realignment, things have we've gotten away from that. But nonetheless, Temple, they might, in my opinion, they might want to get back to their basketball roots and get back to being a Northeast thing, in my opinion. Easier said than done with what I'm saying. Don't get me wrong, but they might want to take a page from the UConn book. And I say that because, like Temple, Connecticut joined the American in 2013 following the breakup of the original Big East. And remember, Connecticut didn't want to leave, but the non-football schools at that time really just wanted to focus on basketball. And since UConn had a D1 football team, it was kind of like adios. But, Connecticut, to their credit, they were able to win a national championship in men's basketball in their first year in the American, granted, with Big East holdovers on their team. but that success quickly evaporated. And by 2020, UConn decided football wise to become an independent. And in doing so, they took all of their sports out of the American and they went back to the Big East. And in doing so, Connecticut's men's basketball program is restoring, they're starting to restore some of that proud glory that this program has. And this upcoming NCAA tournament is going to mark their third consecutive trip back there. And there are some people who really feel that this Connecticut team could make a run in this tournament. We got to wait and see. But for Temple, how much longer are they going to try to chase the football money at the expense of their basketball program? And I know they're part of that TV deal with the American, but I don't see any of the bigger football conferences coming to Temple to try to recruit them to join unless somebody really wants the Philadelphia media market. That's the big thing. Temple, and again, no disrespect to their football program, they haven't been a player like that on the college football scene for some time now. Again, it's all about their basketball program. And I think Temple really needs to think long and hard about getting back to their basketball roots. You think about Temple in the Big East in the 90s. They were, a doormat for everybody in that conference. They left the Big East at one point. The Big East brought them back. And, they started to show signs of improvement, definitely under Matt Rule. But nonetheless, you don't think about Temple football as a juggernaut. You think about their basketball team. Maybe at some point, Temple would think about just becoming a football independent. You're probably not going to join the Big East because at this point, the Big East has the Philadelphia market with Villanova. And I'm not sure if Villanova would want to share the Philly market with them. Maybe possibly going back to the A10 at some point. We don't know, but at the end of the day, it's not working out for them in the American. And of course, Temple's not the only program that's facing this. I've talked about this before with Syracuse and Pitt and Boston College in the Atlantic Coast Conference. They did it for the football money, but BC had success on the football gridiron before in the Big East and as an independent. They also had success basketball wise. They're no longer they're just a shell of what they were in the ACC. The same thing can be said for Pitt. The same thing can be said for Syracuse. You know what I'm saying? Especially from a basketball standpoint. So it's going to be interesting to see because getting back to Temple, in my opinion, as long as they remain in the American Athletic Conference, their once revered basketball program is going to continue to suffer. And I think basketball wise, the American is going to take a huge step back. They've lost Cincinnati, they've lost Houston, and basically Memphis is probably going to carry that conference until one of the bigger conferences comes along and recruits them as well. But nonetheless, for Temple, it's one of those where do you want to be a big fish in a small pond, or do you want to be a small fish in a big pond? And when Temple was in the Atlantic 10, basketball wise, they ran the show. They are no longer running the show in the American because there is no show to run. So for Temple, it's going to be interesting to see at some point sooner rather than later, do they do what UConn did as far as cutting their losses football wise, or just go to continue to keep going out there and chasing the football money? We got to wait and see. But nonetheless, Temple basketball ain't what it once was. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.